In this episode, I get chopping.
I'm going with the big boy instead.
Jane says hello.
Hello.
We both get stuck in the mud.
Do you want me to push?
No.
And a bad smell leads us to a grisly discovery when clearing the barn.
Oh.
Welcome to our barn. Well, it's not the barn, it's the lean-to barn as we're calling it, which is sort of the outdoor barn. So it's open on one side and it's really huge and it's mostly full of old firewood, very, very dry, sort of worm-eaten firewood actually. So there's probably lost quite a lot of its calorific content, but it's tons of free firewood. Over here, where this rotten old wooden trailer is, which sadly can't be restored or repaired. I think it may well have been a bit of a homemade job in the first place, but it's really rotten because of holes in this in the roof here, and so we need this bay for the horses. We need somewhere for the horses to go, especially once we start doing up the cottage, because the stable that's attached to the cottage we're probably going to want to have as part of cottage accommodation. So this trailer needs to come out. But it's on two wheels and it's way too heavy for me to lift the front end and drag out. So I'm just basically going to have to smash it up where it is. So that's the plan. Try and get as much of the wood out and then clear up the barn floor, partition it off with some posts and rails perhaps, and then it'll be just about ready for the horses to use as shelter. And I'm having to use a claw hammer when I need a wrecking bar because I can't find mine. That's what happens when you move house. Just got a load of rotten wood down my welly.
Whilst Rory was attempting to break up the trailer, I was working out how best to move the rotten old rolls of carpet to the back of the barn. It was definitely going to be a two-person job, and a disgusting one at that.
We'll never lift it. There'll just be dead weight in the middle. So we have to both be at this end to try and droop it over.
Oh, right.
Oh God. Ooh, mouse. Disturbed mouse's house. That's maybe what Bunty was looking for. Oh God, it's just disgusting.
Yeah, I know.
I've got no way of lifting it. I'm not willing to rip all my fingernails out.
Would it be like an end over anything? Flop.
Bunty, off. Oh, whatever it is, it's a two-person job.
Yes. Yeah, it's very disgusting.
So if you grab it around where I'm grabbing it. Now I've got to pull it further over.
Yeah.
bump and then we've got to sort of drag it.
It's just speeding up.
I don't think this one looks heavier.
Yeah, so you've got a thinner one, the same, and a bigger one.
Right. And push. This is the easy bit. We've hit bog. Stop a sec.
Maybe we should head for higher ground.
Well, you're probably right, because we're really wedged. Do you want me to push?
No, I'm okay.
Oh, made it.
Oh my God, Rory, what's that in the trailer?
Rubbish.
Yeah, but as well, what's that under the sheet?
Oh!
Ah! What is it?
I think it's a dead body.
Oh my God.
Oh. It is.
It's not really properly gone, has it?
Ah. There's still skin attached.
Should we dump
That's
that?
what the smell is.
Should we try and dump that here as well? Or what should we do with it?
I don't really want to touch it.
Well, I don't want to touch it, but...
Can it stay there for a minute?
The sheep carcass had obviously been there for some time, but not long enough to become just bones and dust. There haven't been sheep grazing on our land or nearby in a very long time. Whose sheep was it? How did it get in the back of the trailer? Why was it covered over and left to rot? Was the sheep's name Trevor? These questions and more will probably never be answered.
I don't think anybody ever said buying a chateau was glamorous. Well, if they did, they were lying anyway. So far it's rotten wood, mice, spiders and dead sheep. Where's the swimming pool and the cocktails? Welcome to Jane's Find of the Day with Jane.
Hello and welcome to this week's Find of the Day at Chateau de Pican. This is a limited edition print and it is signed. The artist is called Ernst Fuchs, say that carefully, and he died in 2015, but he was an Austrian artist and he founded the Vienna school or movement of fantastic realism. So looking at this, it's very clear what it is,
but it really draws you in. So the background becomes part of the foreground. You've got patterns and shapes all around the central focal point, which is the vase of flowers. I really love the way that there's quite a limited palette of colours as well. So you've got the dark teal shadows on the roses, and then you've got the dark teal and green leaves, which have got reddy purple shadows. So you've got really not that many different colours at play there. And I think this is the sort of painting that would appeal to lots and lots of people, go in lots of locations. And although I didn't notice it at first, I really, really like it.
Jane has now had to go back and do some work in the chateau on the computer. So I've been left to try and take this apart all by myself, which is fun because that way she can't make me stop and go and do a different job instead, like moving disgusting old carpets. And so it's just me, Bunty, and the sheep carcass in the trailer, which neither of us have wanted to move. So good, but I've come up against a bit of a problem. All of these are, quite rightly so, bolted very strongly all the way through the wood, and I'm not breaking them off with the sledgehammer, so I'm going to have to get the grinder. I'm back with the battery grinder, which only has 2 lights left on its battery, so I'll see how much I can get done before the battery runs out. As every good tradesman knows, you've always got to make sure that your batteries are charged before you go to work. I don't have an excuse. My batteries are all mostly depleted. Put them on to charge, but these bolts are so thick that it's taken a battery almost just to get through one of them, so I'm going with the big boy instead.
As the pile of chopped up trailer grew, so the battery on the chainsaw depleted. But tomorrow is another day. It would be several tomorrows later before I was back to finish the job.
The next day, we decided to try digging the first of several post holes with our brand new post hole screw digger thingy. Needless to say, it didn't go as well as planned. The ground was far too stony to make the holes properly. We were going to have a rethink.
Whatever I was saying here, I'm sure was very interesting, but as the microphone wasn't on, we shall never know. I was back to finish chopping up the old trailer.
They're so much heavier than they look. Oh God, I'm really naked. Oh, I'm not a well man. Oh, they weigh so much.
After Rory's huffing and puffing, I raked the gravel to smooth it out before we could lay the rubber mats, which will give the horses a soft surface to lie down on.
So this is all that's left of the trailer, although what we do with it now, I'm really not sure. So this is the bay, which is going to become a really nice shady area for the horses to inhabit. Rory's already replaced one of the tiles in the roof, which is why the scaffolding is here. And there's a bit of scaffolding pieces leant against the wall. We've got the mats down, and we've got some OSB ready to make some edges. We do have some fence posts and start of a hole. It's really stony ground, but we've got some postcrete, so that's the plan. To put some posts in with postcrete, a bit of OSB, and then we'll have the start of a stable for the horses.
The moment that perhaps none of you have been waiting for.
So in terms of what it's worth, well, a limited edition print, signed by the artist, exactly the same, so one of 250 sold a couple of years ago at auction for €650, which is a very nice sum. I don't think we're going to be selling it though, because it sits very well here. I really like it. It can go with pretty much any decor, apart from the decor that's currently next to. So yeah, it's lovely. Find of the day.
Jane had been away for nearly 2 weeks, and I'd found myself starting several projects that I wouldn't be able to complete before she returned. She'd only be back a few days before I had to leave for my long-term visa interview in England. Since their arrival, the horses have been living temporarily around the cottage in the grounds. That's where the small stable is located, but ultimately we want them to be housed in the rear barn and the fields opposite. The weather had given me 2 days of rain, and when it stopped, I knew there might not be a better time to start fencing off a field for the horses before the ground dried out too much. Even in the relative cool of the morning, it was exhausting work. Perhaps there was too much blood in my alcohol system. Once the wire arrives for the electric fence, the first field will be ready to use.